Joining me now from our Los Angeles bureau is CBSN political contributor and Republican strategist Leslie Sanchez. Leslie, we just listened to Donald Trump addressing those supporters. What'd you make of it?
Again, I think this is just this continuous drumbeat of unconventional political warfare. He goes directly to his voters. He is specifically talking about a rigged system, which, as we know, was really a battle cry for a lot of people who may not like Donald Trump, but they want to see fairness in the system. You also saw it was very effective on the left with Bernie Sanders. Anytime there's this supposition that you cannot get a fair vote, one person, one vote, and he's already talking about this rigged system for November, I think it's actually genius in the sense that he's going to get people focused on that, focused that it's not fair, he's not treated fairly, and he's moving the conversation away from his really strong vulnerabilities, which is, again, talking about national security as it relates to Khan. So it's just another sidestep, but it's so unconventional, and it's definitely a media play.
Leslie, I mean, I can certainly understand concerns about the parties, for example, perhaps playing favorites to a candidate, as was discovered in some of those emails with regards to the DNC and Debbie Wasserman Schultz. But I've never heard, and you'll have to school me on this, I've never heard that people would think that the U.S. elections, the elections that we hold for the presidency of the United States, have ever been rigged, nor would they even be rigged come this November.
Oh my gosh, there's so many people that still believe these conspiracy theories. You know, the whole idea in Chicago, vote early and vote often. You know, they kind of ideas.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Florida
I know that,
in 2000,
sure.
You know, everybody's like hanging chads. There are, you know, nobody has faith in the technology, the new technologies that have been put in place to actually account for voters. There's still the whole voter ID. You know, you don't have to present your driver's license in many states. There's so many different areas. But the bigger issue, right, he's pulling at that theory, that idea that you cannot get a fair election in this country. And it worked in the primary. I think it can continue to work again. What I think we may start to realize is, ironically, while we have thought that this kind of negative talk, conspiracy theory, was going to suppress or depress the vote, I'm starting to argue now that it's going to increase the vote, that we're going to start to see probably upwards of 10 million more people voting in this election cycle because of the negativity and amping up. So many more people are paying attention to this. They're watching. And I think, again, for Trump to go into this press conference and not talk about the big issue being the Khan family and this heated argument, that an escalation that has happened over the weekend, is something I think we can anticipate he's going to make more tweets about it, where he feels he has the advantage, but not here in front of this audience. It's, again, kind of this new dynamic of the Trump campaign. It's extremely frustrating, I will tell you, for Republicans. And it just shows how we're in uncharted territory.
Let me ask you, and then I'll move on real quickly, though. If Donald Trump wins this election, because the race is tight, will he still claim that it's a rigged election? And what you know of him doesn't sound to me like that he would say that.
You know how this is going to play out. If we're at a month from now, a month and a half from now, if we're still within 5 or 6 points, we know it is a dead heat, basically, until we get to November. And as he starts moving and escalating, when the polls are an advantage to him, he's going to say the system is fine. When he looks like it's a disadvantage, he's going to argue it's a rigged system. It's all this kind of wordplay, of political maneuvering.
Here's the thing, Leslie. He could have spent today talking to his supporters about Hillary Clinton's comments on Fox News that don't seem at all to be the reality with regards to the public record. In fact, that she has misled the American people. Whilst the FBI says that she didn't lie to them, she's lied repeatedly based on what she said this weekend about whether or not she knew that she had passed on classified information or emailed classified information. Why not spend time on that as opposed to talking about a supposed rigged election, which hasn't happened, talking about the $100 million that he offered the White House to build a ballroom for them, talking about, you know, other things that don't really seem, and you saw some of those questions. He only took 3 questions, but they were really good questions about the real concerns that people have.
Sure, and I think that was interesting when he was talking about his tax plan is beautiful and simple. I've never used those terms to define or defend a tax plan before. So yeah. He's in another area. Most people, I would tell you, whether Republican or Democrat, are asked about what is your tax policy. They don't just say it's the most comprehensive and the bigger. They give specific details. We're going to look, you know, think of Contract with America, $500 tax cut per child. We're going to look at, he did talk about reducing regulation on small business, but he couldn't get into the details about which ones they were and how that would particularly benefit small business. So these are kind of broad brushstrokes. But again, Vlad, what it's coming down to, this is an election about insider versus outsider, the rigged system, talking about that you can't get a fair shake. People do want to defend and ensure that there is a fair system when it comes to especially electoral politics. He's speaking at the right frequency to get people to pay attention, because now it's not so much the policy. He's never been one for policy specifics. It's about the insider versus outsider and who can shake up a broken system.
Let me ask you about the comments that Mr. Trump made about the Khan family over this weekend, which he didn't address at this rally. You're starting to see other Republicans, other senior Republicans, Mitch McConnell, John McCain, Paul Ryan, Speaker of the House, releasing a statement over the weekend saying many Muslim Americans have served valiantly in our military and made the ultimate sacrifice. Captain Khan was one such brave example. His sacrifice and that of Khizr and Ghazala Khan, those are his parents, should always be honored, period. Well, Donald Trump went on a Twitter tear again, defending his comments over the weekend. How much longer will Republican leaders continue to say that they endorse Mr. Trump, but don't endorse his comments?
I think it's an interesting question, and it's a pertinent one. There is certainly an increased pressure in dividing out Donald Trump with Republican leadership, and they're feeling it not only from the electorate and certainly Twitter, but they're feeling it from donors who are starting to question how long they should continue to align this endorsement. So what happens, though, Vlad? What's the alternative? If you embolden Donald Trump, if you take away that endorsement, it's just going to play into the narrative that he's again, Washington establishment is against him. I'm here to shake that up. It's not going to benefit necessarily or hurt Donald Trump. I think more so individual leaders, and certainly those Senate, the Senate candidates in very competitive battleground states, are starting to take their own stand, like we're seeing with Senator John McCain in a very tough re-election fight. But I think his advantage, he's going to be able to mobilize a lot of those military veterans, especially communities of color, who may not know the long history of John McCain, but that will respect and honor the dignity of how he defended the Khan family and certainly the spirit of America that he represents. So you're looking at candidates basically taking their own track away from the party nominee.
All right, Leslie Sanchez, out of our LA bureau. Leslie, hope you're enjoying the sun and surf after a very busy 2 weeks for us.
I miss you guys. I'm ready to come back. Let's go.
All right, Leslie Sanchez in LA for us.